All right. Well, you guys, welcome back. If you are new here, we are the Habyt team. The Habyt is a nutrition coaching company made for women by women. Our program is built for you with coaches who put your goals, lifestyle, and personality first. If you want to learn more about us, head to the episode notes or go to thehabyt.com. That's Habyt with a Y to either request more information or book your free discovery call.
Welcome back, you guys. Today I have a very special guest, one of my most amazing clients. You guys know her as Liv Gives Tips. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And the one and only Liv. And she's been working with me for a little over a year. We've gone through multiple phases of deficit, reverse, maintenance, and truly one of the most inspiring and transformation I've seen. And not just because of the physical changes that we've seen, but also mindset, confidence, lifestyle, and let me add strength as well, which we'll get to here. But really, one of the things that you probably most likely know about Liv is she is a macro queen. She shares all the things on Instagram, and sometimes I just want to hire her as my content creator, planner, whatever that
Oh
may
my
be, because she's
gosh.
such a good storyteller. But no further ado, I wanted to introduce you guys to Liv and give her a little background of who she is, why she's here, where she started from, and a little bit about her diet history. Liv?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited, a little nervous because I've never done a podcast before, but I'm excited to do this with you. But yeah, so I am a mom. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 7. I have a 6-year-old and then a 3-year-old. So busy, but basically like my diet history started, I feel, after I had my first daughter, but I mean even before I had kids, I think I was like starting Weight Watchers when I was in my early 20s. I mean, it started early. And then I just remember like being in a vicious cycle of like once I got pregnant, I gained a bunch of weight and then I would lose it and then I got pregnant again and gained the weight again and it was just like a constant like cycle. But with my first, I was only 9 months. She was only 9 months when I got pregnant with my second. So, yeah, they're like really close. Yeah. But yeah, like, if you're a mom and after you have your first kid, you're just like it's a whole new world. You just feel like you kind of like lose yourself in a sense, physically a little bit, mentally. It's just like a whole new world.
It is. Yeah, that you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, and then it like hits you like, okay, my life is totally different now.
Well, I mean, it sounded like you obviously found some success with Weight Watchers too, right?
Yeah, so I did have success with Weight Watchers. I just feel like after I had my third, that's basically when my Instagram page was born because yeah, she was about like 8 weeks postpartum or I was 8 weeks postpartum and I went back to Weight Watchers again and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to document like my journey and, share some food ideas and whatnot. And then I just got to a point where I just felt stuck. Like I was,
Yeah.
you know, doing all the things, restricting during the week. And then the weekend would come. I would just kind of fall off and then feel bad about it, get back to it, Monday through Thursday. And I was just feeling like I was not making any progress. And I just felt very restricted. Which, like I said, I had success with Weight Watchers in the past. And then I just came to a point where I just was not, my body was not doing the things anymore.
So how did you go from Weight Watchers to macros and discovering macros in general?
It's funny too because one of my friends told me before when I was doing Weight Watchers, you should try macros. I've had success with it. And I was like, no way. There's no way I could do macros. It's way too confusing. Weight Watchers has like the one number to it. And like, I'm very like stubborn. Once I get in my ways, I'm in my ways and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. Um, but yeah. And then when I decided to do macros, I was like, you know what? I just need to do a change, get out of my comfort zone and took the leap of faith. And yeah,
Here you
and
are.
here I am. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. The food freedom was like the first thing I noticed with macros. Like everything fits. There's no restriction. Truly, It's the lifestyle.
It is, yeah, it is, and that's what I mean, you know this, always like to explain to my clients that this is something that you're already doing every single day, and macros just make sense because you're literally just documenting what you're eating, right? And with your transition from Weight Watchers to macros, was it easy? Was it pretty easy, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the type of person where once I'm gonna commit to something, I like fully dive in. So I was giving it my all. Like it wasn't like I was like halfway in. I was fully in it. It was definitely like an adjustment period to, figure out. I feel like even before I started macros, I dabbled into just like tracking calories.
Okay,
So
on
that
your
was kind of
own.
like yeah,
Yeah.
on my own. That was like a little transitional period where I was like my wheels started turning and I was like, yeah, Weight Watchers just isn't working for me anymore. And then I started doing just calories. And even with that, I noticed like, wow, it's weird because with Weight Watchers, like there were certain 0 point foods. So that was the tricky part of like, okay, like I'm actually tracking fruit. I'm tracking whatever was 0 points. Like I had to get used to tracking that. So that was like the adjustment period.
Yeah. Did you think that you would be doing macros for this long or like be with the habit for this long? Were you like going into it like, okay, I'm gonna just try it
Yeah,
out and
I
see
was
what
going into
happens?
it thinking like I'll try it out, see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah.
Like, no, I did not think I would be here a year later. And I'm so happy.
That's good. That I'm so glad to hear that. And we've as your coach, like we've talked through different phases and like really trying to understand what those phases mean for you. And I know you have your set goals, but you achieved a lot of the goals already. And from here, how has your goals itself changed now that you are, I mean, you could I mean, I wouldn't say that you're like a veteran macro tracker, but you definitely have some experience and years behind you now. What's the thing that you have changed so much with the past year with doing macros, doing the habit, and just like your lifestyle? What's the most changed? I guess the most change of goals that you didn't think was gonna be the change. Does that make sense?
Okay, it makes sense. And when you ask that, it brings to my mind like intuitive eating.
Yeah.
I I never thought of that before, and I feel like macros has totally shifted my mindset where I know what it feels like now to fuel my body properly. And, I like you said, I'm not a macro veteran, like anything like that, but I've been tracking food for so long that it's like almost like a tool that I have in my tool belt. And it's almost like my end goal, I would say, is to be able to eventually be able to, intuitively eat or whatever. Um, with Weight Watchers, it was always like just trying to lose weight, lose on the scale. And with macros, it's more like it's inches. I never measured inches before. I never took progress pictures. So just like the overall picture, basically. Like the scale only tells you so much.
Yes. And that was really
So
the only thing that you're tracking, right, for Weight Watchers, if
yeah,
I
just
yeah.
weighing once a week. I did not do daily
Once a
weigh-ins at
week. Oh
all.
my god.
Once a week. That's
Okay.
it.
That's even
So
worse.
it would just be like pray that the day you weighed in was a good number or else like it was terrible. You felt horrible.
Yeah, and isn't there I've talked to many clients about this because I have plenty of clients that have done Weight Watchers, and is it something like if you don't, like, get your goal weight, you have to, like, pay or something like that?
Well, once you reach your goal weight, you become like lifetime.
Okay.
So then if you're not at your goal weight, you have to pay.
Like, that is such a
Yeah,
terrible, like just the
I know.
mindset around that,
Yeah, because it's like I remember playing that game like, well, gotta like starve myself for a day so I can make sure I'm at the right number. Yeah, it's a toxic mindset. And like I don't like hate I don't like to talk bad about because it worked for me and in the time and there I know a lot of people who do it and have success, but like now that I'm removed from it, I can see how it's like it's not a balanced overall lifestyle that works for me anymore,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah. I mean, at the very end of the day, it's still a business, right? They still have to find some type of business model to make their money, which is fine. But and like I said, it's not like it's a bad program overall. People have seen great success through it. But I think one of the most like interesting thing to me is like they don't really have an exit plan, right? You just like keep going, keep going. You have like
Mhm.
that one goal the whole entire time. And I think that for me personally and like my experience with clients and myself, it with knowing macros and tracking macros, you then start to really understand what's happening in your body. There's really none of that right through that program, and then you see food as points like no, no, no. um Again, I mean, I don't want to completely go into that topic. I think that's a completely different podcast on itself. But with doing macros, again, you've seen some amazing changes through your deficit and reverse and maintenance. One of the things that I really want to highlight about you is just how much you incorporated strength training and how much that has changed you because, from the very beginning, from our first week through now, like that
Mhm.
is like it is like who you are now. Like you work out like every, on a
Yes.
weekly basis. It is one of the things that's been anchoring for you for a long time now. So let's talk about a little bit about how the transition from that and how you feel in the strength training and how has macros really helped you with your strength training and just workouts.
Yeah, so just a little background there is I know we talked about when I, like, first had kids and whatever, I really enjoyed exercise, and I always did. Even before I had kids, I would do, like, the group fitness classes, Zumba, like, high intensity, like, I really did enjoy it, but I would, I feel like a lot of people that work out, you want to have, like, that toned look. Everyone says they want that toned look, and I never understood that actually lifting weights is what will get you there. And I was always under the impression that, no, I don't want to get bulky. I'm not going to lift anything higher than 10 pounds. That was totally me who said that. And I came across a program. It was actually like on my Peloton app. I didn't have any Peloton equipment, but I just downloaded the Peloton app. Somebody told me about it, and I started a strength training program. And she talked about progressive overload and everything. And once again, I'm very much a process type person. So repeat these same exercises, you're gonna see your weights go up and whatever. So, like, I love that there was a process to it, and it just made sense to me, and that has been a game changer. Like, strength training is I love it, and it has changed, like, my mindset too. Like, it's given me so much confidence and like, it's like a whole nother, like, level of discipline too, showing up and doing the same exercises over and over again. There's nothing new and exciting. I mean, it's not this, like, exercise class that, you're gonna be burning, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, a totally different way of working out, and, yeah, I mean, tracking macros and protein, I mean, yeah, just everything. It's like, it just goes so well together, and it's yeah, I'm at a loss for words, but
I think that's kind of one of the things that I really loved about your transformation too is that you set out a goal, you reach it, and then you start thinking about the next thing that you can do. And I think that that's really important to highlight too, just because, I always say that you shouldn't put a timeline in this because there's always going to be something that you want to work towards.
Mhm.
There's always going to be more to improve on. And with strength training too, like you had mentioned, in the past of like just a little backstory that you said, like you used to go to the group classes, all the things.
Mhm.
That was me too. That was like I was a Zumba instructor for close to 10 years. And like I loved it because of the group aspect of it. But
Yeah.
like you said, right, you don't really understand what strength training really is and progressive overload until you really start experiencing it yourself. And I would say the same thing with you with maintenance. Like that was, explain to me the transition from not just mindset, but like the transition that you have to do if you had to do a lot of, transitioning around from being in a deficit mindset into maintenance mindset. Because right now you're in a cut, right? We're
Yeah.
kind of finishing up your small cut here, and then most likely, obviously, going to go back to maintenance. And you've done multiple of these maintenance deficit kind of
Yeah.
thing. Has that been like in terms of, being in that deficit mindset and then getting out of it and going into maintenance, has that been a hard thing to process? Because 'Cause we've done it so much now.
I think the first time, yeah, it was hard to process because, my previous mindset was like, no, like, you have to keep, going until you reach that goal weight that you want. But it's really helped me see that, like, yes, your body needs a little break. You go into maintenance, and then especially with the strength training, like you've taught me, your body needs your food is fuel. So your body needs more fuel to be able to do your workouts to, the level that you actually want to and actually be able to perform. So yeah, the first time we transitioned out of maintenance, it was a little bit like, wait, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, wait, I don't, am I not done yet? But no, I understand the process and it makes so much sense.
Good, good. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really important to understand and also to be able to switch that mindset accordingly because if you're, obviously if you're in maintenance and you're still chasing fat loss in your head, then yeah, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be frustrated. But the fun thing about that though is that once you get to a level of like you have enough muscle mass, like you could be at maintenance and still feel like you're in a deficit because of just how you look in general. But I want to also, I'm kind of jumping back and forth here, but I wanted to also kind of talk about how you juggle being a mom of three, working, and being a recipe creator. Like, how do you do it? I'm sure many of us want to know.
Well, I'm a multitasker by nature anyway, but just so I'm a nurse for those who don't know that. I
How
work
many hours a week do
part-time.
you work?
So basically I'm like a PRN nurse. I work contingent base, but I work one week I'll work one 12-hour shift and then the next week I do two 12-hour shifts. So I end up doing 6 12-hour shifts in a month. That's how
Okay.
it
It
works
ends
out
up
to
okay.
be. Um, but yeah, so I mean, those are long days. When I'm at work, I'm fully at work. I'm not doing anything else. Like the kids are with my mom or at school, whatever, with my husband. But yeah, when I first started, sharing my journey on Instagram, I never expected it to kind of grow the way it did. But as I was doing it, then I was like, okay, this is like actually kind of fun. Like I enjoyed the creative outlet of like making the videos and editing or whatever. So I mean, if you guys could hear the background of my videos of like the thank goodness you could just mute everything. I just have my camera there showing what I'm doing as I'm like telling my kids to get their shoes on or whatever, like totally multitasking at all times. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just I think I hate to like have wasted time. So if I'm making a recipe, I got my camera on, I'm recording it, and then I'll, share with everyone. But no, I mean it is busy, but I think as a mom, like we can do hard things and we can do I choose to wake up at 5 a.m. most days, not every day, but because I know that's when I'm going to get my workout in. Like, just because I'm a mom, it doesn't mean that I need to put myself last. And I think that's okay. That doesn't mean that I'm a bad mom. I feel like it makes me actually like a better mom because I'm ready to take care of my kids for the day. I feel like I'm taken care of first. I get my workout in, try to get ready for the day. Then I can get my kids up and feel like I've already taken care of myself. So I'm ready to be a mom. So that has really, really helped me. I mean, even I think when my son was fresh newborn, I would get up and feed him at 5 in the morning. Like he would wake, that was like his second feeding of the night. And then I would just stay up because I was like, "You know what? I wanted some alone time." I love alone time. Like, I love my kids, don't get me wrong, but
Yes, no, I
working
100%.
out and, when they're still sleeping, it's
It's
therapeutic for
peaceful.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear that 100%, and I love that that's something that you prioritize as it is because I think, there is a lot of kind of negativity around that, and as moms, as working moms, as busy moms in general, and I think it's really, really important to really to make sure that, you are taking care of yourself because you need energy to be able to give them the energy as a mom. So, um more kind of like background questions here. Like, can you tell us, like how your week is when in regards to like meal planning? When do you meal plan? What day is it, or do you do
Oh,
it
I love
throughout the
this
week?
question.
You go to Costco. I feel like almost weekly. So
Oh my
tell.
gosh, it's ridiculous, but yeah. So I try to start, like, thinking about my meals because I always do my grocery shopping on Fridays. So I try to think about the meals I'm gonna make on, like, about Wednesday, Thursday, and that just works for me. I like to know, like, what meals I'm gonna be making. I
Yeah,
like to, make different things, but
brainstorm.
we
Yeah.
do also have, like, our staple meals too. So I usually think about, like, the meals I'm gonna make and then, like, what I wanna have for lunches. I do love meal prep. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but I really enjoy meal prep. It doesn't happen every week, but, so yeah, then I'd start, like, making out a little list and figure out the ingredients that I want, and, like, even if you don't wanna meal prep, as a mom, I highly recommend thinking about what you wanna have for dinners, even if it's, like, a few,
An
because
idea, yeah.
it's gonna help you. You don't need to run to the grocery store so many times a week, or you know what I mean? Like, if you know what you're making for that week, write out every ingredient you're gonna need, and then you have everything already there. It just
And
is
that
really
has
helpful
been
that way.
something that you have done in the past, or was that something that had kind of taken more precedence, like, since starting the habit? Have you always been, like,
No,
a prepper?
I've always
Okay.
done that.
So that
Yeah.
was kinda then in a sense then, that was kind of an easy kind of transition too, because I mean
Yeah, I would say, like, once I started macros, though, it was more, protein forward, so
yeah.
I would that kinda leads me into, like, pre-tracking, so, you wanna make sure that you're hitting your protein goals, and me, personally, I prefer to, like, eat my protein rather than, have a protein shake every day. Here or there, I'll have one, but building out my meals knowing that, like, okay, I'm gonna be able to be at this certain amount of protein and then have my few snacks. And, that helps too in that sense. Like, if someone's out there who's struggling to hit their protein goals, try to think ahead of the game so you're not like trying to catch up and make up for lost time. And then you're just kind of feeling like you're a rat in a wheel type thing.
With how you're explaining this to me, I mean, it sounds like you have a pretty routine, like, weekly, layout. Yeah, again, there are gonna be weekends that are a
Hmm.
little bit unexpected and things kinda shift, and we know that. But I think that having that structure already kinda set, you always have a go-to, which is very clutch when it comes to this, regardless if you're tracking macros or just, having a routine, right? I also want to talk a little bit about weekend warrior numbers. Not a lot of my
Yes.
clients have done this, and from the very beginning, we pretty much did the weekend warrior numbers, and I like to call it that
Hmm.
way because basically, Monday through Friday, or at least like 5 days out of the 7 days are lower macros, and then the weekend or 2 days out of the week is a little bit
Hmm.
higher macros. But then the average out for the week is still, your basically your calorie bank that you're trying to get to. Was that super helpful for you, especially like our during our first year together?
That was so helpful. I mean, we kind of, I mean, now that we have kids, we're not as social as we used to, but we still like to go out and, like, do stuff on the weekends, especially when I don't have to work, and it was very helpful. It made it much more, no, I
Sustainable
wanna
or
say, like, realistic.
realistic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sustainable, that's a good word, yeah.
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 Yeah, and with, having 2 sets of numbers, it's obviously a lot harder to do that because you're trying to plan out for 2 different sets of numbers. So I think that
Yeah.
right, and mind you guys, we did this for an entire year. She just recently switched to one set of numbers which during this deficit, and I mean, now has it been like a big change or not really? Because you're already kind of a planner even before that, right?
Yeah, it really hasn't been, like, I mean, mm, I'd say on the weekends, it's been a little bit more of a challenge. Just, like, even in the weekends in general, like, if we're not doing stuff, I just feel like when my husband's home, like, it's just different, so the weekends are when he's home. But yeah, honestly, I didn't find the weekend warrior numbers that hard.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good, and yeah,
Probably because, like, before I would always, like, tend to eat a little bit more on the weekends, so for
yeah,
me, it just made it sustainable.
yeah,
It was not that hard. It made it sustainable for me, and that was, like, key.
yeah, and I mean, I love the fact that you even brought that up at the very beginning. It's like, yeah, we
Yeah.
can definitely try that out, and people have tried it in the past, I have clients that done it. I would say
Yeah.
not a lot of people have stuck to it for the long time, like, the long time that you have, but
Yeah.
you found success in it, and I think that, again, macros just shows you that there is flexibility in it, and it can meet you
Mhm.
halfway with your current lifestyle. So now kind of switching back into, like, your kids. I know, with obviously having 3 kids, they all have things they like, things they don't like. How is that?
Yeah.
How is meal planning around what the kids like or kids eat?
Oh
Was
my
that
gosh, this
hard
is
or
this is like this is a sensitive topic, but I'm sure a lot of moms can relate. I mean, I go through phases where I'm like, you know what, the kids are just eating what we're gonna eat, and then I go through phases where someone's having chicken nuggets, someone's having whatever. Like, we kind of go in and out of but like I do have my staple meals that I know that they'll eat that, like, like, for example, like taco night. We always have a taco night every week because, like, my kids will eat that, and then I can build it if I wanna do a taco salad or, wrap, quesadilla, whatever. Then we usually have some type of, like, pasta night, because I like to use, like, the protein pasta and then some ground beef or whatever. Kids don't have the meat in their sauces, it's moms get it, like, it's just a whole thing. But yeah, I definitely have, like, staple meals that, like, are go-tos during the week. But yeah, that's kinda how I navigate that. Try to plan some meals that I know that they'll eat, and then if I know it's a meal that me and my husband like, I wanna try a new recipe that I know
Yeah.
my kids won't eat, then we'll just have, like, a backup plan for them.
Okay, so there are days where you guys have a different meal than the kids.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I would say that's pretty normal for
It's not
everybody, right?
ideal, but yeah, it's probably normal.
Yeah, yeah, 'cause yeah,
Yeah,
some days, some nights you want something
yeah,
else.
yeah,
You don't and then that's totally relatable. Um,
yeah.
alright, now kind of going back into the habit and, with being with a habit for this long, did you again, I already asked this question, right? You didn't think that you'd be here for a year later with a coach. Do you foresee yourself, or I guess, what would be the best thing that you can give advice-wise for someone that is maybe thinking about, joining the habit or just tracking macros? Like, because you've been here for this long, because you've experienced having a coach for over a year now, what is kind of your best advice you can give to someone that is starting brand new or maybe just thinking about doing this?
Yeah, I like this question too because I was that person, and I, like, took the leap, and honestly, you've been amazing, and it's, like, it's always the weeks where I don't feel like, I don't wanna say, like, I did bad or, like, but where I feel like, "Oh, I didn't have, like, the best week," or whatever, and, like, I give that to you, and I tell you exactly where I'm at, and those are the check-ins where I leave feeling the most, like, encouraged and motivated because it's, like, having that person there who can get you through those moments where you're kinda feeling like, not your best, if you're having, like, when you see, like, progress, obviously you feel good, you had a good week, but, like, if it's one of those weeks where, you just felt like you kinda were like, you were just kinda, like, went through the week, um, but if the part that, like, is challenging still is, like, you have the coach there, but you still need to do the work. Having the
Yeah,
coach is not like it's not like some
it's
type
not
of
magic.
magic. You
Yep.
still need to put in the work,
Yes.
but then also tell your coach exactly what your struggles are, exactly what you're feeling so that they can help you. It really is a game changer, I will say. I don't know, you've helped me see things in different lights when I didn't even think about something, like, you would put it in a different perspective, and it's like, "Wow, okay, thank you." Like, I didn't even think about that. So, the accountability has been amazing, and that is, like, the best thing that has helped me, I would say.
That's awesome. Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
you've been very coachable too, and it's been fun kind of I really enjoy when a client is obviously coachable and also just, like, trusting the process because I think that, we are so stuck in our own ways that
Mhm.
you say something, you educate, and then they're still just, like, they don't wanna do anything. They don't wanna budge, and when you're open, it makes coaching a lot easier, but it also opens up a lot more opportunities for you. With
Yes.
with coaching too, like, just through the years that I've been coaching, I think it's also really good to have, like, obviously an open relationship, and at the same time, like, showing your vulnerability. Like, I say this to my clients all the time. Like, you literally tell things to your coach that you probably don't normally say to your friend, your closest friend. Like, I pooped today. Oh, I didn't
Yes.
poop today. My
Yeah.
poop. Yeah, like, these are
Yeah.
like certain information that just doesn't get communicated to other people other than your coach.
For sure,
And I
yes.
think it's so important to have that kind of relationship from the get-go, and, it's gonna take time for you to get there, but I think that by now we have that. Like, it's not just that you're my client, I'm your coach, it's also there's a friendship that starts to really build because of how long we've been together and, like, again, just kind of knowing who
Yeah,
you
like, I
are
know
too.
I can ask you anything, like, I can come to you with anything, and that's just, like it's the best, knowing that someone's in your corner.
And I love the fact that you also ask questions. Like, I'm not, yes, I'm telling you, these are my recommendations, but you ask questions afterwards. You want to know the reason why. It's not just like, okay, like, let
Yeah.
me check the checkbox for you. And I think that's what makes you even more powerful, even, after your time with the habit, which is hopefully never. I'm just kidding. But it gives you more power, more autonomy to make decisions because you are learning along the way, and I think that's so so important. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of change topics here and make this a little bit more fun. How do you create your recipes? Do you just like find something and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this and change a few things, or do you just like look for inspiration on Pinterest and make it your own? How do you do it?
Like, I love making things that I enjoy eating that might have been, like, not so macro friendly, that,
Okay,
like, just
okay.
tweak some things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I also like to get inspiration off, like, Pinterest, or it always, like, starts with, like, seeing a recipe that I'm like, "Oh, okay, I could tweak a few things
Yeah,
and, like, make it, like, a
make
little
it
bit more
better.
macro friendly." That's where I probably get, like, most of my inspiration, I
Do
would
you
say.
do you do that on a weekly basis, or do you have, like, more creative weeks than others?
Yeah, no, definitely not on a weekly basis. Oh my gosh, no. Um, I feel like I go through phases where I have, like, so many ideas, and then I'm like, "Oh gosh, I feel like I'm making the same meals over and over again," which I'm sure everyone feels like that at times, but yeah, no, oh my gosh, no, not every week I'm making new meals, but, like, honestly, my meals are, like, pretty simple, to be
Yeah,
honest. They're
and that's
pretty
what I
simple.
like about the recipes that you
Yeah.
put out because they are simple, because I don't
'Cause
like
I'm not someone
complicated.
who, like, my sister, she will make a recipe that has a million ingredients, and she doesn't care. She will go by every last one. For me, if I'm like, "No, okay, there's too many ingredients, pass," like, I can't.
Yeah. That makes it
But
so
yeah.
much easier to also do because if you're having, steps 1 through 3 versus steps 1 through 15, you're going to go to steps
Yeah.
1 through 3. And
Yeah.
that I always
Yeah.
explain that for those people that are still brand new to tracking, like simplify it as much as
Yeah.
possible. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree. Like looking at your recipes, like I know a lot of them are super easy, super simple, and it's straight to the point, right? It gets the job
Yeah.
done.
Gets
That's
the
what
job
you
done, and
need.
that's why I like meal prep. I know some people don't like eating the same thing, but I love knowing that, like, okay, when my little one is going down to nap, like, I don't have to worry about what I'm making for lunch. It's already made. I already know how to track it. Like, I just warm it up and move on to the next thing. Like, I enjoy eating it, but it's not like I don't have to think about, like, what I'm making. The weeks that I don't meal prep, I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I spend so much time, like, thinking about what I'm gonna have, then making it." And nap time is precious time. Like, I can't be wasting that time.
Get as much things that you can do, especially with mom life.
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
so with all the recipes that you've done, that you've created, that you've shared, which one is your most favorite? And which one is the one maybe that didn't do so well, I guess? Or maybe that's something that you were like, you tried it once and never again.
Oh, that's funny. I love, like, the crock pot. It's either, like, my Korean beef tacos that I do in the crock pot or, like, the barbacoa. I love a crock pot recipe, and, like, I love, like, pot roast, like, that chuck roast that just, like, falls apart. Those are, like if like, when you asked me that, those were the 2 that came to my mind, barbacoa and the Korean beef. And then the one that always, like, sounds like it's a good idea, but then it never tastes is, like, the protein cookie dough, that, like, you see people make. I feel like
Remember
I've
when those
tried those, like
protein balls were like the thing? You make those protein balls.
yes. I feel like it always, like, sounds good in theory, and you're looking and it's like, then when you try, you're like,
Yeah,
"No, it's
no,
just
no.
no."
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'd rather
remember where
just eat
those.
real cookie dough.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, those things were, like, everywhere. I mean, obviously, there was, like, a cottage face cheat cheat, like,
Yeah.
that phase, and then the protein ball phase, and, like, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
kudos to people that, like, are finding these and are being so creative because I'll just follow through and copy
Yeah.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Alright, well, kind of getting into the end of, this podcast, but I want to ask you, how would you say this experience, not just macros, but the habit as a whole has changed your life?
Yeah, so the habit for me, the biggest thing that it has changed for me, which is the most important in my opinion, is my mindset. Um, Consistency over perfection is what I've learned working with the habit, and I mean, you could take that in all aspects of life, but especially with, like, my nutrition and even my workouts, like, that will change your life. That's all I have to say is, like, that mindset, it's really, like, really changed my life, and I'm not perfect by any means. I don't make all the perfect, like, nutrition choices at all the right times, but, like, knowing how to navigate after maybe, like an overindulgence or, like, a day where, it didn't go as planned and I, went over my macros or was under my protein. It's like, how are you gonna go from there instead of, like, spiraling? You know what I mean? How are you gonna navigate from, like, those decisions? And that's where I've seen the biggest change in my mindset is knowing how to navigate those times where you're not, like, feeling your best. Like, I'm not gonna, like, go into a downward spiral anymore and just say, "You know what? I already messed up. Like, let's just go crazy and eat everything." And that no, like, that is where I've changed the most, and that's been the biggest, thing that I've grown from working with the habit, I would say.
And that's a hard one, I would say that
It's
mindset-wise.
very yeah,
Yeah.
it's very hard, and I this is actually kinda crazy, but, like, I wrote down somewhere I found it in my nightstand, but before I started working with you guys, like, right before, um, I wrote down it was, like I forget what time frame it was, but it was, like, what like, pretend like it's, like, a year from now. I don't know why I did this, but it was, like, a year from now, what do you want to, like, look back and see? And it was like a holiday weekend, maybe it was, like, Labor Day weekend or something, like, and I wrote in my journal, like, I wanna, like, look back and not have to feel like I, like, wasted a whole year and, like, trying to, like and truly, working with you guys for the last year, I just feel like I've made so much progress, and I have, like, 0 regrets whatsoever. I feel like I've only grown. I haven't done the vicious cycles that I've done in the past, and it's progress, and I'm just like I just can't say enough good things about it. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you as well. And it's again, it's just been amazing to work with you this whole entire time and just see you grow, not just physically, but again, mindset. So I'm going to close this podcast or this talk with one last question. What advice would you give to another busy mom who feels stuck and overwhelmed, maybe we once did? Because I would say this is a touchy subject because,
Mhm.
we want to say prioritize yourself. Easier said than done. As a mom, if anything.
Exactly.
So what advice would you give to another busy mom?
I would say, like, the best advice I could say is start with something small, like a small habit that is for yourself. Um, and that could be like a 10-minute walk or like 10 minutes where you're like prepping some food. It doesn't need to be anything elaborate. Like, I don't want anyone to feel like they need to do all or nothing. Like, start with something small and build on that habit. And I feel like those small habits start to build over time and you start adding other habits and you following through on those habits will build confidence and I just think as moms we deserve that.
100%. Yes. I agree.
So
And
start with something small. Like I know like you might feel there's no time for you in the day, but find the 10 minutes and then eventually those 10 minutes might turn into 20 minutes and I'm not saying you need to like stick your kid in front of a TV or whatever, but like I don't know, let them color or paint. Like there's something you can do. Like turn on YouTube and do a 10-minute like walk in place. Like that's the stuff I used to do. I would literally do like the walking in place or whatever I did. Like, but it will make you feel better. It really will. And stick with the little habit that you commit to and just watch what happens.
yeah, the little things can add up. And yes, it's going to take some time regardless of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Liv's been here for a little over a year now and she's still doing it and she's still here. And this has been such an amazing conversation. Thank you for being so open and willing to tell your story too and sharing your journey with the habit and also yourself. Like I know a lot of women are going to really relate to this story, but one last thing is where can we find Liv?
Okay, so my Instagram handle is at live gives tips, but it's live.gives.tips. Um, that is my Instagram. So if you're not following me, then check it
You
out.
need to
But
follow her because
yeah,
again, She shares the best things.
Best little random tips too. But yeah, I just want to say if there are any moms out there listening that have been on the fence and just kind of feel stuck, I would say take the leap of faith like I did. I mean, what do you have to lose, honestly?
Yeah, exactly. You're
So
gonna come
I,
out a new person
yeah,
regardless, right?
yes, highly recommend.
Well, and if you're listening and this conversation does resonate with you, like Liv said, being a mom, and if you're ready to stop starting over and going into that vicious cycle, to find a way of eating and training that actually fits your life, your lifestyle, and sustainability, then come check out The Habit. This is what we do, and we create sustainable results and help you rewrite your story. Thank you guys for listening. Liv, anything else that you want to add?
No, just thank you so much for having me. This was so much
Of
fun.
course, this is the first of many podcasts that Liv is going to be in, okay? I'm just putting it out in the universe.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you guys again. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.